maybe you don't have to like get rid of them completely, but you could just limit your time and interactions with people that don't serve you if you have to deal with them. You know what I'm saying?
Now, this is the thing because see, we think alike in so many areas. That's crazy. So now, I'm king unfollow, right?
Hmm.
And the world we live in, ignorant. It's
Right.
called when a man unfollows. It's called sassy. So, what would be your response to anybody or to any man that feels like? Because I'm not scared to unfollow nobody, but to any man who may be watching this who may internally struggle with that fear of I'm be called sassy if I unfollow these people, that person or her.
Why are you giving power to what people think about you?
Okay.
That's exactly what I say. Why do you care? Why are you giving their voice power? What do you think about yourself? That's what matters. All right, keep going.
What's up, y'all? So we have expanded. All right. P.S.A. the ghostwriting solution. We got another ad here, obviously, has expanded. And now we are specialized curriculum development and reading and history for K through 12. So, what does that mean? Why to choose us? So, this is expertise in K through 12 education. All right. So, this is custom curriculum development, curriculum length options, consultation revision, and additional resources. Also, we have a la carte options. So, if in case your school for the private and public schools does not want the full shebang, guess what? You can do the a la carte options, which includes the curriculum design, the lesson plans, the multimedia content, assessments, the education guides, interactive activities, reading lists, resource compilations, and historical source collections in case, again, you don't want the full shebang. So as always, reach out to me at PSA, thepodcast.com, or my email, theprodigyperspective@gmail.com. Hit me up. What's up, y'all? All right, so first time in the studio since we started season 8. Last week we went crazy with the views on YouTube, and I'm expected to do the same this week. We got a good list of people coming for season 8, and hopefully y'all get to see some faces from previous seasons just to kind of come in and out. Now, remember, we also doing a live stream still on Monday, so make sure y'all tap into that because I try to, stay current, up to date with that. And the goal during this season is to really not miss those unless I absolutely have to. And I think I won't necessarily have to, but we gonna see what's up with that. So anyway, I'm coming for y'all next all this season. I'm not playing with y'all this year. I'm tired of y'all. So last few seasons we didn't have some stuff, and I appreciate the people reaching out saying what they had to say, but it's tough love. Remember, I love us for real. So let's get into this week's meme. The meme reads, "Y'all all over the place, and that's why y'all not seeing success." Okay. The issue is with most people, as we talking about mastering the basics today, you've seen the title. The reason why you're not seeing success is because y'all all over the place, which goes into my inspirations for this week. Inspiration, the first one actually came from a social media rant I had, what was it? Some weeks ago. And I basically was just saying how, like, you know, y'all all over the place. I commented on my situation last year, how I made off of my side hustle. I made, and this was, like I said, it was a humble flex. It wasn't even a brag. I just told people I made a salary off of my side hustle last year. Of a business that when I started in 2017, I might have made $100 a month. But the reason that I'm saying this, y'all, is because I did not stop. I kept going. And the issue with y'all is a lot of y'all have multiple talents. Y'all do. But the thing is, you got to master one thing before you go to the next. Because again, if you all over the place, it's going to be hard for you to stay consistent. It's going to be not stay consistent. It's going to be hard for you to see the results you want to see. So yeah, that sound rude. Yeah, sound rough, but we got to do better. We got to. We need that tough love. We got to. And then obviously, like I said, my frustration comes from people that I just feel like, y'all, we gotta stay consistent. So that's that with that. But all right, y'all, let's move to the next Let's move to happy hour. All right. Pretty excited for that. Now, with today's happy hour, I got a quick little rant I want to go on. And I was going to talk about this on my YouTube channel as far as my vlog, but I'm going to talk about it here. So I want you to send this video to somebody who you know has been cheated on. Now, this is a sensitive topic for most because a lot of times when people feel like they've been cheated on, they feel like it's their fault. And most cases it's not, but sometimes it is. So you thinking, well, how is it my fault? 9 times out of 10, you ignored the signs. Now, there's some cold cheaters out here. It is. I've seen them. But then there's some not so much. And if it keeps happening to you, you need to figure out what you're not doing or what are you allowing. Now, what I will say is people get mad at the opposite sex for cheating on them and leaving them, to ruin emotionally and mentally. But then we'll say I'm done with, like, girls say I'm done with dudes. And in some cases, dudes be like, oh, I'm done with women because I'm tired of them cheating and all that stuff. I mean, it's usually the other way around. But we're not gonna leave that out. It happens on both sides too. But typically with women, a lot of times they don't be getting caught. It's the dudes that keep doing the same stuff and they keep getting caught. But my thing is, if you keep getting cheated on, you got to stop ignoring the signs. Because the thing is, they're gonna end up throwing themselves off. You see these stories on TikTok that's going viral about, like, who did I marry and all that crazy stuff. And I be seeing some of them. I don't try not to get lost in the sauce, because if you keep watching them, you gonna get lost. And so I try not to do that. But some of them will just be like, this is crazy. Like, how did you not see that? And it's okay if you get hit with the okey doke once and maybe even twice, but after the third time, I'm blaming you. And that's what I want y'all to understand. So again, send it to somebody that's been cheated on, and I want y'all to replay this over and over again and see what is it that you're not doing. Ask yourself, what am you not catching? Because sometimes, like I said, people play in your face, and if you pay attention to the signs and the patterns, it's there. And now, especially for the men, I gotta say, stop cheating. If you the one cheating, stop cheating. If you can't stop cheating, just be single. I'm 100% certain a lot of y'all who do be cheating and stay with a girlfriend or a wife is really because you enjoy the thrill. But you need to get to the bottom of that rush, because I don't believe, like, when people are, like they say, when girls will be like, all men cheat. I don't believe that, because all men don't cheat. But if you are constantly cheating, you need to get to the root of that. And I'm gonna say, ladies, you don't need to accept that. So we need to hold some accountability and stop making excuses for lack of discipline, which leads perfectly into the topic for today. So I have a great guest, y'all. He is also a podcast host, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself because I got a few questions I have to ask him.
Mhm.
So, my boy, what's going on?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, real quick, tell the people what's your name, where you're from, and then I want you to tell the people what it is that you do.
My name is Sherman Perryman. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I am a mental health coach and a business strategist.
Okay, okay. So now you have a podcast, as I stated. So can you tell people about your podcast, what it's about, who it caters to, all that good stuff?
Yeah, my podcast is called Militant Grind. It caters to almost any and everybody in everyday life. We focus on mental health, resilience, perseverance, things of that nature. So I feel like everyone has their traumas, has their issues, has something that they need to work on. And so we're for everybody. Like, we have people from, moms, doctors, lawyers, man, we have it all, just street guys, hustlers, drug dealers, ex
Mhm.
drug dealers, rappers, we have everybody that can relate to almost anyone that you could get some insight from.
For sure, for sure. So now, being a mental health coach and seeing a little bit of everybody, I usually don't
Mhm.
do this, but I'm gonna ask today. I just want to see your raw reaction. Do you so what is your take on the conversation I just had as far as with cheating and that kind of thing, and me wanting to hold these men accountable? Like, I gotta hold my brothers accountable. What's your take on that?
Um, I mean, honestly, man, I really don't. I just feel like people are always gonna do what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, I really don't focus too much on that. because that could happen with anybody and everybody at any given time. You know what I'm saying? And if they're not willing to hold themselves accountable, then I just say that's on them. But then there's also situations where, a woman may not care, or it may not be a big deal to
That's
her.
true.
She might be like,
That's true.
oh, well, do what you do as long as you're taking care of home. So it really
Yeah,
just depends on like the situation, and everybody's situation is different. You know what I'm saying?
for
It's
sure.
like, man, I'm a middle-aged man, so man, I seen and I ran across all kind of scenarios and weird stuff. The stuff that may be weird to somebody else, but then it's just like, damn, I know people do stuff like that. So yeah, man, it's like, hey, it's a wild world, man. But when it comes to like anybody personally, man, I just say, if it's gonna hurt somebody, then you don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to cause pain to anybody else based off of the activities that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I call it wrong.
For sure. So I love all of that what you said because it's definitely the case. And like I said, I try to get these topics and I got to speak on them in that moment because it got to align with the whole thing about happy hour. It's happy hour conversation when you go to so and I try to keep the topics into something that's like I said, the relevant topics is for Mental Man Mondays, but that kind of stuff I have to keep there because it's just stuff that comes up, and I just be like, I just got to say something about it. But I like your take on it for sure because, like I said, in the grand scheme of things, if it don't apply, let it fly. But at the same time, I love what you said when you said sometimes people be knowing and just don't care, which is true. They
Hmm.
don't care. And there's situations where people will just be like, look, I'm gonna just act like I don't see it, and then you do what you got to do. But I made a face when you made the comment, and you probably hear it all the time. You said middle aged.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm about to be 38 next month.
Black don't crack.
Well, yeah, man, I'm super healthy. I'm into fitness, nutrition, all of that. So that's also like a program that I do. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, okay. Yeah, damn, I almost got 10 years on you.
All right, for sure. So we getting into that next. So let's go into the next segment, which is what does this have to do with mental health? So as today I stated, we talking about mastering the basics. You heard my little rant, but I got to get more into the topic for the day because again, the people that I cater to, we kind of keep going around the same mountain. They even talk about that in the Bible, where the people went around the same mountain for 40 years. What was supposed to take 11 days, it took 40 years because they kept going around the same mountain and kept doing the same stuff and not, you know breaking out of the norm. I think a lot of times we get stuck in the norm and we get stuck in doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, okay, sometimes you have to keep doing it. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because you have to get to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Same with a
Mhm.
podcast. You have to keep posting stuff. Even though you may not be seeing the results you want to see, you have to keep posting because one day you're going to break. And you know what I'm saying? And it's going to get to that point where you get those numbers up or, and things like that. So before we get too deep into it, so doing my research, you have an academic background at Morehouse College and the USC Ross Program in real estate. Can you share how formal education and real world experience contribute to a solid foundation for young men today?
It definitely helps you get very well rounded and well grounded. Like those experiences, you meeting with people, you're in class, you're talking to different professors, you're doing research and things like that. I feel like that is very important on how you view the world. Because like say me leaving LA, going to Atlanta, I'm not in my bubble anymore and I have to adapt and I got to get used to other people. I got to see how other people work, especially going to a HBCU, I ended up knowing that all black people are not the same. Like we are
Man,
all different in every part of the United States. We're probably the most different ethnicity more than probably like any other ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because like West Coast black people act, talk, think differently than somebody from Louisiana or some of the people from Chicago or people from Detroit or people from the tri-states. It's like, man, it's totally different. Like, I could pick up on dialects like, oh, you must be from, and
for
they'd be like, how
sure.
you know? Because I went to a historically black college and I met black people from all over the country. And that basically opened my mind to me just being my own individual and also dealing with people and accepting people for who they are. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you kind of have your own um your own thoughts of who you are, you know what I'm saying, and how other people are. But then when you get to know other people, your mind starts opening a lot more, And I feel like that's probably one of the best things ever, including like traveling around the world also opens your mind to other cultures and other ways of life and different things that people do. And so you end up figuring out like, man, you're ignorant to a lot of stuff. You really don't know it all, and you're really not that important. You're really just like a little speck, you know what I mean, in the world. Like there's somebody in China right now that don't know you, don't care about you, somebody, down the street. It's like, we're all out here in this world just trying to figure it out, trying to eat, eat, sleep, and do your thing, you know what I'm saying? So once you figure that out, you be like, man, all your prejudice, all your ignorances, and all of that stuff just basically just shoots down, and you start to understand people a lot more.
No, for sure, and definitely going to a. I went to HBCU as well. I went to Texas Southern.
Oh,
So
my brother went there. Well,
for
he's
real,
he's older than you. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's crazy because like when you said that whole dialect thing, I'd be going places and I'd be like, "Oh, you from over here? Like, how you know? You know what I mean? Oh, you say, you know what I'm saying? Because you was around everybody at a HBCU, and like I said, and I hate to say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyway. This might get a viral moment with this, but we all know as Black people, there's a difference between Black folks and we know the other word. So I feel as though even with that, and even I was talking to my dad about that weeks ago. We was talking about HBCU, and I literally said there are different hierarchies of Black folks. It's like even at
Oh,
the
yes.
and that is funny and crazy to me. But like, we have different hierarchies. You got your hood ones, you got the fake hood ones, you got the bougie
Oh,
ones,
yeah.
you got the ones who grew up in the country because that's a different. Like
Mhm.
and I love Black people for real because it's like you
Nah, bro,
ain't
and you got the rich ones. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know black people were that rich. HBCU. I didn't even know like, oh, this person's mom is a judge, and I'll be like, what? Like, I didn't even know black people were judges and lawyers, and
I'm
you know what I'm
crying
saying? Like, my dad's a dentist. I was like, damn. Yeah. I know
for
exactly what you're talking about, man. I figured that out. Like the fake hood ones, I was actually talking about that the other day because I'm from LA. Like I'm really, really from LA. Like I grew up in Carson, which is a mile away from Compton, and my
I know
friends from
about that.
Watts Compton. Oh, you heard about Carson?
Oh, I got people from Cal. That's what I'm saying. I got people from LA. I already know all about that.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So it's like somebody that's from the burbs or something, they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm from," and they'll just try to act fake tough, and I'll be like, "Come on, man," you know what I'm saying? Like, let's,
It's
or
so funny.
it's just because you know how it is once you go out to those places, man. Like a lot of people want to act bigger than what they really are. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I'm from
for
I'm
sure.
from New York, man, and that's like, bro, you were not like that when you were back home, bro. Or,
At all. And then my
yeah,
thing is, even with that too, and like you said about how Black people, they'll have their mama a judge, daddy a dentist, and now they the hood. Now you acting like NBA young boy, and it's like you don't have to do that. It's just like you don't have to do that. Like you going through an
yeah,
identity crisis. But at least if
yeah.
you're gonna go through an identity crisis, I'd rather you get it out the way at 20 than 40. So I guess you can
Right,
go
right,
ahead and
right.
have it.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, so mastering the basics. So, how do you believe mastering the basics of discipline and commerce can set a young man on the path to prosperity?
Oh, definitely, man. Discipline is also one of the five pillars of the militant grind. Like you have to form some type of discipline in your life because right now we're hit with so many different distractions from each and every way. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So I actually wrote a book. I'm an author. I wrote a book called "From Grit to Greatness: Harnessing the five pillars of the militant grind." And we talk about discipline and how that actually can affect your life. You have to instill some type of discipline no matter what, like going to the gym every day or every day I do this and every day I do that. But it has to be like non-negotiable disciplines where it's like, hey, no matter what, I'm gonna make this happen at this time, period. I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I definitely feel like that's important because if you're not making money, you still have to develop some type of everyday discipline that creates a habit of you being disciplined so you can make some money.
and again, even with that comment, and I love that you said it again, stuff I ain't even plan on talking about, but that's why I love this show. The thing is, even with that, the government show you that they can shut stuff down at any minute, and any moment.
Yeah.
If the pandemic didn't teach you nothing, it taught you that your job can be gone like that. So that's why you
Mhm.
need several streams, or you need some type of side hustle. And that actually what I had an argument about this when I talked about like, people not mastering the basics and why they're not seeing success in their businesses or their
Right.
side hustles. Because in the on my story, I made the comment and I said, like, some people I do believe are called to work 9 to 5s. That's what you called to do, and that's great.
Yeah.
But in this economy, you're still gonna need some type of side hustle. And somebody challenged that and said, "Well, I mean, if somebody want to work a 9 to 5 and it pays their bills, that's all that matters." I said, "I hear what you're saying, but you're missing what I'm saying. I'm saying you're gonna come in the future. You can take this people as you want to take it. You're gonna need some other stream because that's gonna be not gonna be, you know what I'm saying? And things are different. Like I said, you live back in LA, right?
Yeah.
See, I live in Texas, so like we have totally different rules, especially when it comes to stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like you have to I just say, even I just feel like following your dreams and living your passions on all levels. You're not limited to one thing. I just want people to master one thing first. My target audience to master one thing first before they jump to other stuff, instead of trying to be novice in everything, because that's not getting you nowhere.
Mhm.
So, with that, let me talk about how mastering the basics aligns with mental health. And I have some statistics. So, according to a study in the Journal of Health Psychology, young men who have higher levels of emotional intelligence are better equipped to handle stress and less likely to experience depression and anxiety, although it's still possible. Young millennial men mastering the basics of emotional intelligence include recognizing and expressing emotions in a healthy way, empathizing with others, and managing stress through emotional regulation can be particularly beneficial, because it says this demographic, especially young Black millennials, often face unique pressures related to identity. We talked about that briefly,
Right.
career, and social expectations. And it talks about makes emotional intelligence important.
Mhm.
So, according to research published by the National Financial Educators Council, financial stress can significantly impact the mental health of millennials, with many citing financial insecurity as a major source of stress, anxiety, and depression. Mastering the basics of financial literacy, such as budgeting, saving, investing, and understanding credit, is essential for young millennial men. Now, talking about credit, I'm not gonna lie, been building mine back up, but in them college days, I ain't gonna lie, I was running that credit up.
Mhm.
So this just is what it is. So my question to you is, and you may not be the financial credit guy, but any tips that you may have, or any suggestions for anybody who may have gotten to the point where they had their credit, a little messed up, and now they're trying to build it back up, or any little tips you might could add.
You just got to figure out a way to make some consistent money. And credit isn't free money. It's money you have to pay back with interest, And I feel like that's where a lot of people got lost at, because it's like if you see $5,000 you're able to spend, you're thinking that it's income, and it's not income. It's credit, that you have to, and it's actually debt that you have to pay back. So if you're not wanting to, what I'm saying, get into debt and things like that, you got to have some type of financial discipline that needs to happen before you even get credit, because there's a big movement now where people like, oh, business credit, business credit, business credit, right? But they don't even have a sustainable business. So how are you
Mm.
even gonna be worried about business credit if you're not even making money, in your business? It makes absolutely no sense. And I don't understand it. I know some people feel that way. I'm just like, I don't get it. Like, how are you gonna have that without, having money coming in? You're not even, the first thing you're thinking about is just, oh, I could get $100,000 to start my business, but you haven't even made a dollar yet. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it makes absolutely no sense.
Oh my god, this episode is gonna be amazing. That is just funny. It's crazy how people think, and especially, like you said, when something goes viral, it's crazy how it just becomes a trending topic and everybody wants to do it. And it's so crazy. I literally see stuff about business credit all the time, and it's like the business credit with no business. Like what you doing? It's kind
Right.
of like when people I don't know. We can be out here all day with that, but that's definitely something I'm glad you brought up, and
No,
definitely something I
that's
want
that's really what it is, man. It's like people want to put the cart before the horse. Like if you're gonna look for money for your business, at least make something. Make $5, do something. But people don't want to do the work to actually create the money. You know what I'm saying? And
and
it's
that's a
like it's a fad now. It's like, oh, I need money for this, but it's like if you're not already generating income, you literally have no business, and you might be going further and further into debt. So like say for some people, right, they'll say, okay, I'm the CEO of a company and you're running off of you being the CEO, but then it's like if you don't have a structure, if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have any tools or things implemented, you're the CEO of nothing. Being a CEO means nothing if you do not have a real corporate structure. I can make anybody a CEO in a couple of days with just like 100 something dollars. You know what I'm saying? Boom, you're CEO of this company. But you want to run off of you just being proud of, that's not even a real accomplishment, really. It's just you just want to say this title to make your ego feel like you doing something. And so that's something that I just don't understand at all. You know what I'm saying?
I think too with that, I think going back to college because you went to Morehouse, I went to Texas Southern, and just especially in that era, and even the young adults, even the people that didn't go to college, you was in Atlanta and I'm still in Houston, you know what that party promotion scene looked like. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes those people get that lifestyle and they think they're just gonna magically transfer over because you was the CEO of the promotion team at the club and getting the sections and the bottles, and you still living that lifestyle. You think it just magically transfers over because it was so easy to do over here that you
Right.
think. And then of course with the pandemic happening, and it's easy to run up these numbers. But I keep telling y'all, they is clocking y'all. Y'all think y'all not being watched, but these people who keep opening up these banks, talking about some, let me get your credit, let me do this, let me, and I see them on my story, and I just be like, y'all are fools. They is really just sitting back. Your FBI agents are sitting back writing all this stuff down. So when they hit you with it, what you gonna do?
Well, you
They is
have to be
waiting.
making a lot of money for the FBI to be watching you. They're not gonna be watching somebody that's making 50,000 a year. It has to be worth their time for that.
Oh, I'm
But
telling you, I see these people running it up.
yeah, no, I mean that could happen. Yeah, it depends on how much money you making though. But yeah,
So
you definitely right.
So now the next post about mental health, it says, according to a systematic review in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health, physical activity is strongly associated with reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety among men. For young men, millennial men establish a routine that includes basic health and fitness practices such as regular exercise, nutritious eating, and
Mhm.
adequate sleep is vital for mental health. These activities not only improve physical health, but also contribute to higher self-esteem, better stress management, and overall psychological well-being. So, with that, you talked about fitness briefly. We get more into that. Your approach to success encompasses nurturing the mind, the body, and the soul. Why is the holistic balance essential for young men, and how can they achieve it?
You achieve it by putting in the work,
Right.
and it's definitely a busy thing to make sure you put your mind, body, and soul at the forefront of your life. Like mind, like okay, research, reading, developing my mind, getting smarter or wiser. Body, okay, fitness, nutrition, and soul is spirituality, praying, getting closer to whatever entity you believe in, God or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So without one, the other lacks. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't have a strong mind with a weak body, or at least I can't at all. And I exercise, I work out, I'm a fit person, but I use my mind to push my body, which entails like, keeping my spirit whole. You know what I mean? Like I can't even function if my muscles don't feel some type of pain. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? It just doesn't feel right. So you have to figure out a way to just keep all of those three intact. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I do it. Like nobody's gonna be laying in the bed with, all day feeling like, okay, I'm the strongest person and my mind is strong and my spirit is strong. Maybe you can,
Yeah.
but I have no idea how that could happen.
For sure. I think that, and it's funny you talked about spirituality, and I think about like, unfortunately, especially in our community, and not everybody,
Mhm.
but like a lot of times we see in churches, you talk about strong mind but weak body, and these people who can slay demons in the spirit from miles and miles away, but then they big and fat and they sick and they got diabetes and they got all these blood pressure issues and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
So, and not good stuff, hold on, but you know what I mean. And so I just think it's interesting how I'm learning in my life you can't have one without the other. You have to have both, and it's better to get it now. Unfortunately, a lot of people I know, I talked about in the episode, what was it, season 6, talking about what happens when that grown man, grown woman weight kicks in, because my mom and them used to be like, that weight ain't supposed to kick into you like 35. I said, our generation, it came early because the people was getting it at 24, 25. People used to
Mhm.
make fat jokes about me bigger than me now. And, everybody talk about when they look at their old pictures, I look at
Right.
mine and be like, I looked older at 18 than I do at 29. People looked at my
Mhm.
picture from prom. They said, Izzy, why does this picture look like it's from the 50s? I said, I don't know. But,
Mm.
and so it's not to bash nobody, but it's just saying how when you don't take care of your body, you notice it and your body feels it. And it's hard to accomplish other stuff because one area is lacking, but it's the vice versa. If you got your nice fit body, but your
Right.
mind ain't there, what
Right.
you doing?
Right.
So
Right.
building authentic relationships is a key theme of this podcast. So we talked briefly about emotional intelligence. So
Mhm.
how do you feel or view the role of emotional intelligence in forming relationships and then navigating societal pressures?
Um, Man, that's a good question. Navigating societal pressures, I feel like you have to be in control of what you consume in your mind.
Yeah,
Like if you know that this is going to get you to react a certain kind of way, maybe you should leave it alone. Maybe you shouldn't watch this. I say I don't watch scary movies because it puts
I don't either.
different images and stuff in my mind, you know what I'm saying, that I don't want to deal with. So I'm very like picky about what I consume, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the whole basis of it because for me, right, I used to be like, man, why are these people posting up these pictures on Instagram and doing this and doing that. And I would get frustrated until I was like, hold on, man, you don't have to look at this stuff. Just unfollow them. Like simple as that. Like you are in control. Somebody's talking about things you don't like, or you don't have to be around them. You don't have to talk like you do not have to be loyal to anything that does not serve you. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically like how I look at it. Like we are often pushed to be loyal to things that do not serve us. You know what I'm saying? Just because oh, no, oh well, no, man, I'm not with none of that. Come back when not saying come back, but it's like maybe you don't have to like get rid of them completely, but you could just limit your time and interactions with people that don't serve you if you have to deal with them. You know what I'm saying?
Now, this is the thing because see, we think alike in so many areas. That's crazy. So now I'm king unfollow, right?
Hmm.
And the world we live in, ignorant. It's
Right.
called when a man unfollows, it's called sassy. So what would be your response to anybody or to any man that feels like, because I'm not scared to unfollow nobody, but to any man who may be watching this who may internally struggle with that fear of I'm be called sassy if I unfollow these people, that person or her.
Why are you giving power to what people think about you?
Okay.
That's exactly what I say. Why do you care? Why are you giving their voice power? What do you think about yourself? That's what matters. All right, keep going.
Good. Now let's transition to the next segment, which is I challenge that. And in our challenge that, we kind of challenging what we talking about because I want to give both sides of the ball and both perspectives. Now, before that, many young men face hurdles in their personal and professional lives. Based on your experience, how can returning to the basics help them to overcome these challenges?
Mm, well, you have to go back to the foundation, which you always, have to do. And that's what I wrote in my book. Sometimes you can just use the book as a reference point when you're feeling weak or you're feeling this or you're feeling that. Like you have to go back and refresh your mind about, okay, cool, okay, I got it. And that's why I say healing, mental health, self-development, and all of that is a continuous journey because you will be pulled down, you will be pulled back, you will have negative thoughts. Everybody isn't going to just say, okay, I made it and I'm going to be like this forever. Like you're still a human being. So you often got to go back to the basics to make sure that you stay grounded, which starts with a solid foundation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you build a brand new house. The house is not going to be looking the way it looks, you know what I'm saying, forever. You have to do repairs. The foundation, it might stay the same, you know what I'm saying, like the wood and everything. But as we all know, you got to paint, you got to, mop the floor, you have to do this, you might have to repair this, repair that. Like that's going to happen. but the foundation is almost, like you never have to repair a foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you have to repair everything else.
But even with that, like I like that comment about the foundation. But even with that, like I know it was an insert. What was it? I can't remember. I ain't gonna go into because I can't remember word for word. But it was just talking about the house built on sand and the house built on sticks or something like that. I can't think. I don't want to mess it up, so I ain't gonna say it. But again, if the foundation is faulty, there's a faulty foundation, nothing would ever be properly done. And I actually read about that in the book, more in the book, and I'm gonna quote it probably in the description of the podcast. I think it was
Mhm.
James Solomon, I think that's his last name, Solomon, and it's the deliverance from demonic covenants and things. But it talked about faulty foundations and the importance of getting back to the root of the foundation, because if you don't, nothing, and I mean nothing, will go right. So keep that in mind, people.
Right.
Now, question for you: how did you get into the mental health field? Like, what was the thing or the defining moment where it just made you say, like, I need to be here?
Well, I actually started when I was a teenager because I didn't
Okay.
like where I was at or where I could be. I knew the examples that I had growing up wasn't anything that I wanted to emulate into,
Okay.
and I was just like, the first thing that I would have to do in order to become the man that I want to become is to change my mind. So I grew up with so much negativity, you know what I'm saying? Like negative, 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 negative. I was
Same.
like, God damn, I gotta search for some positive somewhere, you know what I'm saying?
Same.
So that's when I started like reading the books, and I would go to Barnes and Noble, go to the self-help section and have a field day. I have two bookshelves in my house. I have audiobooks, ebooks, like man, I have books all over my desk, like everywhere, find one. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I was just like, I have to, and I know that I could not be the man I want to become with the mindset that I have at the current moment. There's no way. You know what I'm saying? So because it's like the way I think about myself, what I was taught, like I wasn't taught, I wasn't in the household where people were like, be the best you can be. You can do it. I
Yeah.
believe in you. Like I didn't have that. So I had to figure out, okay, if I don't have it, I have to develop it for myself. You know what I'm saying? So
No,
that's
for sure.
basically like where it all came from. So it
Okay.
was to say that I mean, but there were good values that I got, from being in a household like that because it actually helped me start, you know what I'm saying? And I was independent enough to do this on my own and figure it out on my own. But I do see like some people that grow up in that type of realm, it really beats them down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna say that was a good thing because on the opposite end, everybody isn't gonna be like, okay, I think I need to change myself and stuff like this, and this is that and the third. You know what I'm saying? So with that, I don't do my kids the same way. I'm like, okay, I will take some good aspects of that type of behavior or trauma or whatever, like, okay, being disciplined, diligent, stuff like that. But then also implement love and things like that, you know what I'm saying, with my children. So, it's just a whole different thing.
Definitely. We love to see it. All right. So, mastering the basics is pivotal in many aspects of life and professional development, yet there are instances
Mhm.
where moving beyond the basics is necessary. So, as the challenge this section, I have a few instances where we're going to challenge where mastering the basics would limit us, and I want you to give your feedback on them. So, I have 5 different occasions. So, the
Yeah.
first one is innovation over adherence. It says creativity and innovation often require stepping beyond the basics. A Harvard Business Review article highlights the importance of breaking conventional rules to foster innovation. What's your take on
Hold on, could you repeat that again? I got a notification that like dinged this right when you were talking.
that?
Can you
It's
say
cool.
that again?
Innovation over adherence. Creativity and innovation often require stepping beyond the basics. A Harvard Business Review article highlights the importance of breaking conventional rules to foster innovation.
Hmm. And
You
what was
agree
your
with that one?
question?
No, I
Yeah.
said, what's your take? I said, you agree with that one?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I thought it was a question. My bad. Yeah.
No, no, no. I'm just asking. I got some tips. I got some how this the challenge this part. So this part, I'm just naming some stuff, and I'm just asking if you agree with it or not.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right. So the second one, I agree with wholeheartedly adapting to rapid changes. Forbes reports on the fast paced evolution of industries like technology and digital marketing, where professionals must continuously adapt to learning new skills that extend beyond traditional basics to stay ahead.
I agree with that.
So, and even now, I
Yes,
gotta
ma'am.
pitch my stuff in here as always. Everybody knows, and I don't know if I pitched it last episode, but I'm pitching it this one. Y'all know I have my ghostwriting service, P.S.A, the ghostwriting solution, and we have expanded packages. Now we have packages for charter schools and private schools now for English and reading and history departments, where we have packages offers that include lesson plans and different technological advancements. And so I have more of that, as you saw in the ad, that you're gonna see in a minute. But I have that for y'all. Y'all need to check that out. Also for podcasters, we now have some copywriting stuff for y'all too. And I need y'all to tap into that along with other stuff I've been having, resumes, cover letters, and all that good stuff. Y'all seen the packages. I'm gonna get back into that in a minute. So the third one is personal exploration. The American Psychological Association discusses the importance of risk-taking and exploration for personal growth. Focusing exclusively on basics might limit discovering one's passions and strengths, emphasizing the need for a balanced approach to learning and exploration. The fourth one is creativity and skill based activities. According to a study in the Journal of Sports Sciences, flexibility and creativity in applying basic skills are vital for success in sports and many other areas.
Hmm.
And then the fifth one is mental health flexibility. The National Alliance on Mental Illness advocates for personalized approaches to support mental health, indicating that strict adherence to societal basics might not align with individuals' well being needs, emphasizing the importance of adaptable strategies.
Yep.
All right. Now, with that one, I like that one too. You being a mental health coach, you've been in this field for how long? Now, of course, you
Uh,
started when you was a teenager, but officially.
no, as a coach, like I say 7 months, but then like officially, but then I've always mentally coached people like my whole
Right.
life. So
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah.
no, no. No, no, I get it. I get it for sure. So
Hmm.
7 months, but you've been doing it, but in just using life experience
Hmm.
along with your 7 months, we're gonna give you your credit, get your 7 months.
Hmm.
How has it been how has it been easy for you to easily adapt to different, like you say y'all cater to everybody, which we love to
Yeah.
see. So has it been easy to adapt to the pregnant woman, to the hood figure, we're gonna keep it clean, to
Hmm.
the young, well, whoever, you know what I'm saying? How easy has it been for you to adapt to those different needs and those different.
That's probably like yeah, it's super easy. I come from like a very diverse. I'm in LA, so I come across all kind of people. So it's super easy, man. Like if you see, I have a testimonial section on militantgrind.com. You see all kind of people from all walks of life, white, black, white women, black women. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. You know what I mean? And I more so notice that like all of this stuff is universal. Everybody got their own stuff. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like it's easy because once you figure out what triggers them, you're able to identify it. It's kind of like easy to help them navigate it. But I just go and figure out what's the root cause of every problem. Okay, now let's work with it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times that is the reason why people think whatever they think about themselves, whether it be negative or positive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, earlier we talked on the lack of discipline, and we've noticed that, and commitment as significant barriers for people. So, why do you think mastering the basics of discipline is particularly challenging for young men today?
It's a lot of distractions. Everybody's trying to pull their attention to something. You know what I'm saying? And life is a hell of a lot more easier now than it ever was. You can make money off of the internet by doing nothing. You got food delivered to your house, clothes, everything. You could live an entire life with only taking your trash out and never leaving the house. Like everything you need can come to you. Have somebody come to your house and do something, whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's gonna, like what are they gonna do to really push themselves? Kids don't even go outside no more.
Yeah,
Like what I did when I did growing up. Like when I was a teenager out of high school, man, we used to go places like 2 cars deep. Like we have to go outside and do something. Now it's like, okay, we're just sitting on our phones and doing whatever. Like now kids aren't even really like pushing to get driver's licenses like that. Like when I turned 15, I was like, man, I gotta learn how to drive because I gotta get
same,
somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
same.
not just gonna because there's nothing to do besides just, talk to people, whatever. You want to go out, you want to see something. So now it's like you're able to see things, but on your phone, and it's like limited. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably where it's coming from, because you
Yeah.
can satisfy yourself without not having to do anything at all whatsoever. If I want to talk to a girl, okay, I'll create an online profile. If I want to, do, online porn, all of that stuff, man, like it's kind of, you know, so I could definitely understand, but it takes you got to be very strong willed these days.
No, so many things you said I have to cover. So first of all, you talk about the online porn thing. Last season, the final episode of the season was about, as a man, why do you have OnlyFans? And I caught hell for that because I just
Mhm.
asked the question. I was just like, as a man, I'm not saying it's okay for anybody. People gonna do it, that's their life. But my question was, as a man, like, woman, that makes more sense. As a man, it's like it ain't nothing else you can do to go get no money. That's it. That's your final thing. Like, it was nothing else. And I get, again, your comment about convenience, right? So
Mhm.
it's like it was convenient, but it's just like it wasn't. And I'm all about holding people accountable. Anybody around me, that's what we big on at this podcast. So I was just like, it's something else you could do. But even with that comment about people never want to leave the house, I think studies have said, and I seen a meme. It
Mhm.
said my generation, because I was born in '94, but my generation was the last one to experience truly going outside and having fun, because now they do it a little bit, but it's nowhere near like how we was. We had a ball. Like, you went home, you went outside, you was outside to, I don't know. And then I was tripping because I used to be outside running in chucks and wondering when my feet was always hurt. So I mean, it just was like, and I used to be sprinting, like running up hills, and it's like, what are you doing? But that stuff was fun. And even when you talked about the whole getting a license thing, like, I remember 15, getting my license, and I remember that was a fear, because, and not a fear of driving, but I remember I failed the test twice, and they said if you fail it the third time, you got to go to school. I passed
Mhm.
the third time, still failed parallel parking, still really can't parallel park, but that's okay because I'm gonna find another parking. But I like that you pointed out all of that about distractions, because, and I'm being honest with myself, I'm easily distracted. I have to sometimes turn my phone to do not disturb and do something else, because I'll be doing something and still be checking my phone. And it's like, what you doing? But it's just real easy to do, and that's the unfortunate part. So before we move to the next segment, I gotta ask,
Mhm.
because again, you are a fitness fanatic. So now I saw that you participated in Spartan races and various challenges. So, first of all, how did you get into that? Because I don't even know how to find that. And then, what role does
Mhm.
physical wellness play into mastering the basics of personal and professional success?
I got into a friend actually asked me if I wanted to join. Like, I always wanted to do it, and then she was creating a team, and I was like, "Shit, okay, I'm down." And so I did the first one with her and a friend, and ever since then, I was just like, I love it. I love the challenge behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was tough. You know what I mean? Like, it's no joke. But when
Yeah,
you finish it and you get that medal, and you're like, it's like, man, it's a sense of accomplishment. So it can be like very, very addicting for sure. Like, a lot of people have like, a bunch of medals. I have like 7, but there's people that like buy the year pass and do them all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I go to the gym all the time, but I'll do a Spartan race like once a year or twice a year or whatever. But I could definitely see how, well, also when you're there, you're around like a elite group and class of people, because those people are paying to put themselves through that agony. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like you're not gonna get like a little weak. I mean, sometimes you're gonna hear people talking, but you just gotta ignore them and keep it pushing.
yeah.
But that definitely plays a part of um, physical wellness and your mind too, because it's like when you're tired and you have no choice but to keep going, your mind basically pushes you. And we don't have enough in society now where it's like, okay, I'm gonna push my mind. Like, what are people doing to push their mind these days? It's
Nothing.
probably absolutely nothing. They like say, if I don't do this, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I say, if you out there in the mountains and you running, it's like if you stop, nobody's gonna be here to save you. You have to do this yourself. So I feel like it's important to put yourself in those type of situations because we have a lot of things that we do where we could just give up and it will be absolutely no consequence, but probably money or opportunity. You know what I'm saying? But When it's like, hey, if you don't do this, you might sit out here and die. Okay, you might want to start moving. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Let's move into the next segment for the day, which is the weekly sabbatical. And in this time, we know we kind of reminisce on some, not reminisce, but we kind of recall some things that have happened and kind of, just yeah. So, in your book, From Grit to Greatness, you discuss the 5 pillars that you briefly discussed essential for success. Could you
Mhm.
elaborate on these pillars and why mastering the basics is crucial for young men's growth?
The first pillar is love, and with love, I talk about self love and how self love is very important for you to be successful because one of the golden laws is love thy neighbor like thyself, like yourself. But then it's like if you don't love yourself, how could you love your neighbor? And when people love their self, it just brings a whole like a totally different energy to what they can do and their life. The second one is honor. So when you're an honorable person, people basically it's like respectable. You know what I mean? It could
Yeah,
take you a very long way because it could open a lot of doors for you and your reputation is held at a high standard. Like say an honorable man, that's always been honorable, no matter what, people are gonna speak highly of him, period. So and discipline, we talked about discipline. So discipline is very important because without it, how can you make anything happen? How could you achieve goals? How could you, achieve anything without discipline? And then strength, well, under discipline, strength. Whew. So strength, right, is physical and then mental. So I talk about how physical strength is important, but then mostly mental strength because if you're mentally strong, you can control the physically strong. And the mentally strong is actually like the best type of strong that you can be. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I grew up focusing on physicals, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Watching wrestling, Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that stuff. But then I started to notice that mental strength is also important as well. It's not just physical, you know? So we have love, honor, strength, discipline. And then our last one is wisdom. Wisdom comes as you, I wouldn't say age, but I'll say like you have different experiences. You tend to pick up on things, you pick up on habits, you pick up on people, you get insight. Wisdom is very important in life, period. Like you have to have some type of wisdom. And that comes through knowledge, that comes through the other pillars. So that's why I have love at the end, love at the beginning, wisdom at the end, and everything in between is like what you need that holds them together. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically it. I mean, I suggest people read the book to get a deeper insight. I have basically tools and tips on how you could actually achieve, practical advice on how you could actually like achieve each pillar. So for self love, why don't you practice this, and the third? For honor, you should be like this, and also have a reversal at the end where I'm like, you don't want to be too much into self-love. You don't want to have too much discipline. Or
Yeah.
you have to be careful with your wisdom. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it basically gives it a balance. I'm not saying you have to be like, like Kobe Bryant is what I mentioned for discipline, but then also talked about how the discipline his form of discipline ended up being detrimental. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Okay. Sound like a good book. And where
And
can the people get the book from?
the book is on Amazon. So it can be found on Amazon.
All right, From Grit to Greatness. Y'all got to check it out. All right. So now, as we kind of wind things down, let's kind of get into some tips for everybody. So you were trying to figure out how to master the basics. I'm all over the place. Again, his book is a great tool and a great resource. So that's where to start. But in case you ain't got it yet, or you waiting to get your check to buy it, or you gonna use a business credit that you just got that for no business, you can use your business credit to go get the book. But we also have some tips, all right? So this comes from an article by James Clear, and it's called Stop Wasting Time on the Details and Commit to the Fundamentals. So the first thing he says is the courage to master the fundamentals. So it's a quote by Dan John, and it says, everybody has the same basic body and needs. We have the same courage to train the fundamentals, and at least 80% of the time. Sure, add some spice in there now and again, but focus on the basics. So he stated that committing to the basics and mastering the fundamentals can be hard. And I get it. I've struggled to fall in love with boredom and focus on the basics many times. And he talks about, for example, as an entrepreneur, it is very easy for me to spend days working on the details. Should I make the small tweak to the website design, or should I answer these 50 emails? But the main thing that you have to do is the courage to master what's going on and to figure out what it is that you want to do and stick with it. The second one is avoid the edge cases. It says, in the words of Corbett Barr, people waste too much time debating edge cases. So this, in this case, are the what ifs, the could be, the minor details, things that might not make a 2% difference, but mostly distract you from the real work and will make 80% of the difference. Here are a few
Mhm.
examples. It says, if you're considering a new diet, but you're worried that you may not be able to stick with it when you go out with your friends on Thursday night, that's an edge case. It says, if you're starting a business and you're debating over business cards or shipping methods or 1,000 other things that could delay you from finding the first paying customer, then you're stuck in the edge cases. You can optimize later. Meanwhile, delaying the decision is bringing in exactly $0. And the last one says, if you're trying to get all of your ducks in a row, figure out the right ways to do this, then you're probably giving yourself an excuse to avoid the hard decisions. Now, before I go to the third part of it, I have to speak on that from personal experience. Don't get so caught up in what could go wrong. Don't get so caught up in like you just thinking about the bunch of minor stuff. And sometimes I think a lot of times too, with the reason why a lot of people can't master the basics is because they struggle with perfectionism. But in anything you do, you're gonna tweak it.
Mhm.
When I first, and I'm sure you can relate as a podcaster, your first episode don't sound like what it sound like now.
Nah, hell no.
And I
Nah,
think
not at
people are
all.
so fearful of that, and they just like just put it out. It don't have to be perfect. I've seen so many people just so worrying about, oh, I gotta be like this. I'm like, just put it out because you're gonna change stuff anyway.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Any tip, anything you might want to add to the edge case scenario before I move to the final one?
Nah, just like you have to start with what you got. A lot of people think that they need so many things, and it's just like start with what you got. You have a camera, start, do something, use the resources that you have. You don't need anything elaborate in order to start. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you have to. I tell people like, man, I did so many changes within the past couple months. I actually just redid my entire website.
Yeah,
Like at first, and I have people look at it be like, oh, it's good. I like your website. But I'm looking at it like, nah, man, I need more,
that's how
and
it
I'm
be.
talking, and against anybody. I'm talking about like you're going to Yale to get your PhD and you look at militantgrind.com. Oh my God, I like it. And I'm like, nah, man, I need to make it a little bit better. You know what I mean? So so basically that's where it's at now, man.
Even with that, like, so did you do your website on your own?
Yeah, yeah. So I
Okay.
came up with it, man. Did it all the content and all that. So I actually have like a background in like design and stuff like that. And I'm a pretty
Okay.
creative person. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
made it
I'm
happen that way. But I actually love the new website. Absolutely love it.
definitely okay.
But before I was like, I mean, I liked it, but now it's like, nah, I need more. This definitely was not enough.
Yeah, I had to pay somebody to do mine because, like, I can. That being, I'm a writer first, and like I can explain it in great detail. So when you get the right person or design it, if you can explain it like I can explain it, they can get it, and he did.
Hmm.
But I tried to make my own website one time. That was so trash, and it took me all day to do it. I was so pissed. All right, so the third one, it says don't fear the fundamentals. Most people avoid the fundamentals because they don't have the guts to become great at them. When you eliminate everything that is unnecessary, there are no details to hide behind. You're left with just the basics and whether or not you mastered them. It's easy to tell people that you're working on your new strategy or you're doing more research, or my favorite, I'm in the lab. But
Hmm.
it's hard to say I'm focusing on the basics because I haven't made much progress yet. Do you
Hmm.
have the courage to simplify and become the best at the basics? Stop wasting times on the details to make the last 10%. And then it says, what good is a fancy business logo if you haven't found your first paying customer? What good is a better guitar if you haven't built the habit of practicing each day? That's my main thing. You over here trying to create this YouTube channel and you over here trying to get the perfect camera, but you don't even have a theme. You just like, I'm going to get the camera and then the idea just going to pop up. Let me tell you something. I said it
Right.
before. People are making millions of dollars using their phone to record vlogs. I've seen people with 100K views of StreamYard, of a phone that they do like this, holding up
Hmm.
in their face, no
Right.
Canva art, no Canva art, no intro, no outro. So get the idea first and master that before you worry about all the other stuff. Because honestly, that don't matter. And I've seen people, especially in this podcast game, waste
Mhm.
thousands of dollars on the perfect mics. They waste thousands of dollars on the perfect camera. And then they did 2 episodes, and then they like, oh, I'm gonna come back later. And it's been, you know what I'm saying? It's been 2 years. And I was like, what you doing? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You done wasted all that money.
Mhm.
So, all right. So now let's move into, as we end off for today, let's go into the question or challenge I have for my audience. So 30-day challenge to master the basics in a key area of your life, whether it's emotional intelligence, financial literacy, or health and fitness to strengthen your foundation. So with this 30-day challenge, I want you to pick something you want to do. If it's fitness, you say, I'm going to go to the gym every day, work out, move my body at least 30 minutes a day. If it's financial literacy, you might say something like, okay, put yourself on a budget each week. I found that works for me. If you say, I'm going to put myself on $100 budget this week, you'll be surprised. Even if you go over, you'll be surprised how much money you save.
Mhm.
And also, if it's something in regards to emotional intelligence, limit your social media time, limit who you talk to, stop letting everybody vent to you. Because have you ever talked to somebody and you just felt like afterwards, just like every time you talk to them, you feel depressed, or you feel like, why every time I talk to you, it's like, oh, here we go. Don't let people bully you into you being a bad friend because you don't want to listen to their oh, woe is me stories every time. It's
Right.
good to listen to people sometimes, but every time they always got some bad news.
Mhm.
All right. So as we end off today, anything you want to give the people, lead the people with, any gems? You done dropped a lot of them, a lot of quotable stuff. I can't wait to chop this up and put it with the clips. But anything else you want to lead the people with before we leave?
Just do a deep dive within yourself and figure out who the best version of you is and just be all the way authentic and don't manipulate yourself to think that you're something that you're not.
Okay.
Mhm.
Simple to the
Yeah.
point. And again, we briefly talked about identity crisis, but a lot of people, unfortunately, I think they use social media to try to figure out who they are. And it's like,
Yeah.
y'all learning from the wrong people. You need to, do some
Mhm.
self work.
Right.
But all right, y'all. That is all for today. Tune in next week. P.S.A. signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And I love us for real.